Hi, I'm Harvey, host of Franchising Brand Stories.
Hello, and I'm Petra Foster, the owner, CEO, boss of Prosperity Housing Group Limited, based in Birmingham.
And I am Jessica, the co-owner of Prosperity Housing Group, and I am the Queen of Contracts and Compliance, and I am based in London, UK.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to Franchising Brand Stories Season 3, brought to you this season by FranRec. This is the show where we find out what's under the hat of some of the top brands in UK franchising. And today's no exception. So if you're considering investing into a franchise business, then this is really the show for you, because we delve deep into these wonderful franchise brands and really understand the story behind the brands. And that's really what it's all about. So the story that we're going to hear today is Prosperity Housing Group with Petra Foster and Jessica Campbell. Petra, Jessica, welcome to Franchising Brand Stories.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'd like to start off with a nice simple question to really get us into the swing of things. So, what is Prosperity Housing Group for people who don't know?
So, Prosperity Housing Group is a CQC registered supported living service, and we're based in the UK, in Birmingham, UK. Now, what that is that we provide housing and care for adults that have got mental health. So adults who are between the age of 18 to 65, who have things like eating disorders, personality disorders, bipolar disorders, depressive orders, schizophrenia. So what this means is that we have the NHS has people that are in mental health hospitals and they've had a mental health breakdown. And then it comes to a point where they're ready to get discharged. So the social worker, she will then assess this person and then say he's fit for discharge, but he does need 24-hour care and support in a supported living setting because he's still at risk to himself. So what that means for us as supported living providers is that the social worker will then contact us because we're on the local authority framework. We'll get an email from them, and then they'll say, for example, John, who's 34 years old, he is due to be discharged. Do you have any vacancies? Then we say, yes, we do. And then the registered manager will go out to assess the person based on his needs. So because the person needs care and support, we're able to help him with budgeting, with medication management, with accessing the community, with going to drug rehabilitation services, washing, ironing, just general things that we take for granted in terms of living their every single day life, because they need to access the community, but kind of get back into the swing of everyday normal life. So you look at it like this: people that are in mental health hospitals, some of them haven't even made themselves a cup of tea for a long time. But as supported living, we help them with their general life skills and to be a productive member of society.
That's fantastic. What a great introduction, and a really wonderful service to help. Anybody could get themselves into a position where they need help and that they're vulnerable, and it's lovely to have people that can look after and help people find their way and look after themselves. Jessica, let me switch this one over to you so that we're nice and fair. As a newly accredited member of the British Franchise Association, explain where you're at now as a business. I know you are new, which is fantastic. It's brilliant to have new franchise businesses, but where are you at? Have you got any franchisees? Have you built your business to a point where you're ready to take on some exciting new franchisees? What point are you at?
Well, Harvey, We are a new-ish franchise, so we were established in January of this year. However, myself and Petra, we've been in the industry for a number of years. So I have a mental health background. I studied psychology at university. I worked in a private mental health hospital as a support worker and also as an assistant psychologist. Petra's also worked in mental health settings, and then we started our own supported living service. Then following that, we became consultants. So we've been doing this for a number of years. Now, when we first started our franchise, we were told, you know, you should aim for maybe 1 or 2 franchises a year, you know, build slowly. Now, since January, we now have 13 franchisees around the UK. Now, that is, yeah. And the reason why we have been successful is because when we started, myself and Petra, there wasn't much information. There wasn't any information when it came to, you know, starting a supported living service. We had to start from scratch, and we've had to learn absolutely everything as we've gone along. And now you'll find that the information that is, the little information that is available is very, you know, a bit all over the place. A lot of it is untrue. A lot of it is very unsafe. And our franchisees, the people that we work with, they know that we've done exactly what we say we're going to do. Hence why we've been accredited by the British Franchise Association in the first place, and they trust us. So where we're at the moment, we, like I said, we have 13 franchisees. And we're still, you know, building and nurturing our own services as well in the meantime.
Yeah, I just want to add to that as well. And to have 13 franchisees just since January, and now it's September, it's an absolute blessing. And it's just amazing because this, like Jessica and I, we are just so passionate about people that have got mental health. That's why we started the service in the beginning. We're called Prosperity Housing Group, and our tagline is prospering lives for the good of the community. Jessica and I, we just really believe that everyone has a purpose. Doesn't matter what your disability is, what your age is, what your mental health is. We all have a purpose. And to be able to just have Prosperity Housing Group, just to start this business was just like an idea between the two of us, and like we're so passionate about it. And then we just been able to have our service users in the house and have our staff. It's so exciting. And just like what Jessica was saying, we've been mentoring since 2020. And then over the years, we've seen our mentees have success after success. One of our mentees, she made £250,000 in her first year. Okay, in just 2 years, no, 1 year, she had 2 properties filled with service users. So we've got a proven concept, a proven brand concept. We proved it with ourselves first, then we had mentees, and now we have our franchisees who is going to take it to a whole another complete level. And we're just excited.
Absolutely wonderful. And we're going to get really into this story and how this all came about. Before we do that, I'm going to recognize a few people that have joined us live today. And in case you have just joined us, this is Franchising Brand Stories Season 3, brought to you by FranRec. And today we're hearing the story behind Prosperity Housing Group. Now, this is the main part of the show, and this is really where we encourage you to ask any questions of our lovely guests to find out more about this opportunity. So if you're here live, please pop in a question, and we may put it up on the screen like the one that's up there at the moment. But before we get into this, let's just quickly recognize everybody who's with us here today, because this is a show all about you. We've got Simon Wise, great to have you here. We've got Nick Plevin, fantastic to have you here. We have Johnny Joseph from LA. Oh my goodness, he's experienced an earthquake half an hour ago. Well, I hope you're okay, Johnny, and great to have you here. we have Julie Waits, and Julie is a fantastic franchising expert and supporter, and I know a supporter of social franchising and franchising that really helps do some good. So it's going to be a fantastic conversation. Johnny has put shaken, not stirred. Well, as a Bond fan, I like that. So anyway, it's great to have everyone here live today. Let's get into some questions. Are you ready, ladies?
You're ready.
You're ready, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, look, let's take one from Julie. And Julie has put, what has been the hardest challenge for you so far, Jessica and Petra? Either of you can take this one, and I'm sure growing any businesses, there has been many challenges.
I love this question. And I love this question because the way that I see the world is not always the same as the way other people see the world. I look at challenges to be overcome. I am not fazed by challenges. I'm not fazed of mountains or obstacles. I'm just not fazed. This is a business, and every single business, we are going to have hurdles. We are going to have things that we have to get over. What we do, we get over them. So for me, it's not about what challenges. It's about we actually see what's ahead of us and we just go through it no matter what. And that's kind of how I live my life personally. And that's also how I see business. I think that Jessica and I, we didn't start this business thinking about challenges. We saw a gap in the market. We have previous mental health background. We knew exactly what people coming out of hospital, what they actually needed. We have a heart to help these people. And that's just what we set out to do, and nothing at all. We were so single-minded. We didn't think about the noise, didn't care about the noise. We just looked ahead and did exactly what we needed to do. Yeah, and that's what I think. Jessica, what about you?
I love what you, just very quickly, I love what you said there, a heart to help people. That's great. I think we're going to get back into the challenges, if that's all right, in a minute. One thing that I wanted to start with, because we're now getting into this part of the story where we go back to the beginning. Yeah. And it would be good to hear about a little bit about that story. But really, what does it look like from a franchisee's point of view? If you're a franchisee looking at this and you're thinking this is a franchise business, try and explain to a franchisee what the business is. I mean, I completely understand that you're helping, a franchisee would be helping people that have come out of some sort of situation where they need some help with day-to-day things and they need some property. But how does it work? Do you have to have a property to do it? Do you, do you need experience? What does it look like for a franchisee?
Okay, so what it looks like for a franchisee. So firstly, you don't need to have a care background. So we have one franchisee that has a care background. So you don't have to have a care background to be a director, to be an owner of a CQC registered supported living service. So if you want to start the business, you don't have to have a care background. However, you have to employ a registered manager. So the registered manager does need to have a level 5 in health and social care. And we always say, it's important that your registered manager has had at least 2 years of managing a care home or of managing a CQC registered supported living service. That's what we say. So that's basically what you need. So you've got two aspects of it. You've got a nominated individual who is the director owner, who doesn't need to have qualifications, but does need to have a good character. So there is something called a good character test that the nominated individual has to go to. And then we have the registered manager who then needs the qualifications. So in terms of what else that we do, this is what it looks like for our franchisees. So Once you decide to become a franchisee of Prosperity Housing Group, this is what it looks like. Once the franchise contracts are all signed. So Prosperity Housing Group has a good CQC rating. We have numerous contracts with the local authority, all written by Miss Jessica. Okay. Now,
Compliance queen, yeah?
Pardon?
Compliance queen, you said, yeah?
Compliance queen, yes. So when you've signed the contract, this is what happens. So we give you our franchise manuals, our pre-opening manual, our franchise manual, and our operations manual. So we teach you step by step how to manage the business, and also how to manage the care, and also how to manage your staff. Okay, so as soon as you become a franchisee, we have a strategy session. On that strategy session, that's when we will discuss who's going to be the nominated individual, who is going to be the registered manager. We will talk about the qualifications, so who's going to be best, because we do have people that have business partners. So we look at what qualifications they have, what backgrounds do they have, what skills do they have, do they like numbers, are they more managerial? So we look at those skills, and then we'll determine who's going to be those roles. During that strategy session, we will discuss how the CQC application is to be completed. We will also discuss when you should get a property and what type of property to look for. We also do the market research, because all local authorities need supported living. Okay, now we specialize in complex needs, so people that have got mental health, people that have got like personality disorders. So we teach our franchisees to do the market research. When they get the market research back, they then are fully aware of what contracts are available in which borough of the UK. When they find a contract that's available, they then email Jessica and say, Jessica, there's a contract available in this area. Please, can you write it? Jessica then writes it. Okay. We do all of that in the strategy session. Now, that takes place with our support team. Now, once we have the strategy session, we then, every franchisee goes through a 5-week CQC training. Now, the CQC training is very in-depth, and it talks about exactly what type of regulations that you need to know, what type of legislation that you need to know. We also go through mock interviews with you. So Jessica will do the mock interviews with you. The way that she does it is, it's on Zoom, and we go through the interview. So the questions that you're likely to be asked on the interview, she'll go through them with you. And then Jessica will actually critique and let you know exactly what you need to revise on.
No, that's fantastic. So putting it in a simple term, and correct me if I'm wrong here, please do. If you are looking to get into this business, you're going to have a bricks and mortar care home facility that specializes in looking after the people that you've described there. So it is a bricks and mortar. You do need some accommodation, and as part of that, you're going to help people. Or can this be done visiting people in their own homes, as an example? And perhaps that can go to Jessica.
So we don't recommend. So when our franchisees come to us, we don't need you to come with anything at all when it comes to a property, anything at all, because it's really important that you set up your business in a way that is compliant with the CQC, and it's very specific. Okay, and we go through all of that. So we don't recommend coming with a property. We don't recommend coming with anything. Just come as you are, and me and Petra will just go through everything with you, and we will do the rest. So to answer your question, no, you don't need a property. We support you with getting everything that you need set up and up and running and ready to go.
Great, fantastic. Let's have a look at a few other questions that have come in, because this is clearly a conversation that's really interesting to our wonderful audience, which is fantastic because we got some great comments coming in. So let's have a little look. What do we got? We've got one here from David. David put, does your franchise include getting service users? Well, look, David, we started to touch on that, didn't we? You know, so let's say you've gone through your initial process, and we're going to look at in a moment what that prospect journey looks like even before the point that you sign. And then you've gone through a lot of what you've said there about the training, making sure you're compliant and that you know everything that you need to know to run the business, and you've got the property, but obviously then you need to get the service users. Petra, you spoke about each local authority being able to supply those service users, and that you're on that list. So you're going to help your franchisees fill their care homes with wonderful people that need your services. Is that right?
So we don't have care homes with supported living. So having a care home and having a domiciliary care business and supported living businesses, they're all completely different.
Okay.
So Jessica, do you want to just share how you get clients?
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to getting service users, that's when the local authority contract is really important, tendering basically. And we do that on your behalf. So I have written a number of tenders when it comes to supported living. A lot of our business comes through local authority contracts, and that is how we typically, you know, get service users. We build relationships with local authorities, and one thing that we help you with as franchisees is with marketing, how to speak to. So first of all, I'll write the contract for you. Then we talk about marketing. We offer support with that marketing. We talk to you about how to approach social workers, how to have those conversations. And then also we support with the financial side of things, because at the end of the day, yes, we have a heart to help people, and this, you know, we're in this for our service users, but in order to provide the best care that we can, we have to be financially fruitful. Remember, I didn't say financially viable. I said financially fruitful, because that is my philosophy. Because so when you are financially fruitful, you can support your service users better. You can have more qualified staff. You can offer better training to your staff. You can do more things. So, for example, in our supported living service, our service users and the staff went on a day trip to Blackpool recently. They're always doing different things, and we can support them with that because we have the resources in order to do that. So we go through costings training, how to negotiate costings. I support I support our franchisees throughout that process so that they can make sure that, like I said, they are financially fruitful. So yes, we do help supporting with getting service users, costing correctly, and getting paid. You're absolutely.
Just to add to that as well, what I will say is that tender writing is very technical. You either have the skill or you don't. Okay. So Jessica does have a tender writing team. And as soon as you win the tender, you get referrals. I have to emphasize that really, because you get referrals as soon as you get the tender. Now we have had
so just to clarify, sorry, I just want to clarify for people listening, when you say to win that tender, this is the tender with the local authority to then for the service users to be able to use your facility. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very complex procedure, isn't it, writing that? And it's great that you clearly have the support in place to help people in their business win those tenders and go through those tenders and have the best possible chance of winning those, perhaps. We're going to get into a few other things, but I love all the comments that come in from the wonderful people that are here. So I'm going to put another one up, actually, because I'm going to put this one up because there was something that you said, Petra, that resonated with me. And it was a good character test. Now, that sounded a very interesting thing for both looking for prospective franchisee partners, but also those franchisee partners looking for the right members of staff and team members to help them look after those service users. So what support do you offer your franchisees to make sure they recruit the right people?
So as I mentioned before, you don't need to have a care background. So only one has a care background. So what we do is we have already written a job description for the registered manager. You will then put that online, and then you will then filter them out, and then you email it to our support team, and us and our support team will interview registered managers with you. So you understand exactly what to look for, what questions to ask. And basically, the most important thing is to get the right registered manager that's got the right heart, and that has also got the experience, because obviously you don't have a care background. So we do help with the recruitment process. Also, when you do recruit the registered manager, we then we recommend a human resources company for you to use, so that the HR company, they do the application forms, they do the health checks, the fit for purpose checks, and also make sure that their DBSs are done as well. So the HR does all of that, and then your registered manager is also able to come onto our franchise training calls, and your registered manager will have access to us and our support team as well. So, and also the registered manager will also have the operation, the manuals for the service.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned again there about having the right heart. Second time you've mentioned that, which I think is lovely, really, because I think that's really what it's about. You know, and you both smile when I mention that, and it's clear to me that that's what it's about. You know, elaborate a little bit further on what is having the right heart and a heart to help people, because I love that.
I'm going to give you an example of a consultation that I had last week. This guy came online and he said, I want to have passive income. I see that you're living in Dubai and I want that life. I live in Dubai now. I was living in Birmingham. I now live in Dubai. And then, you know, the moment that he said that, I said, this business is not for you, because this business is not passive income. And what comes first is the health and well-being of our service users. Okay. Our service users, they have had traumatic backgrounds, no family, no one to care for them. So when you come on the consultation and you say you want to make passive income, that is a red flag to me. When I think of one of our service users that was living in squalor for a year, didn't bathe, was eating pot noodles, and then she comes into one of our house now. She's got mild learning disabilities and mental health. She's coming into our house that she had, you know, she showers daily and she goes to the hair salon and gets her nails done every fortnight. She's got a great life. She even bought a slow cooker recently. So she cooks food for herself and the staff are helping her to do that. This is what this business is about. It's about the people. That's what I mean by heart-centered. So you have that has to be your first thought.
And also, when there's one question: how do we assess whether someone has the right heart? When we support you to interview your registered manager and teach you and train you on how to, you know, recruit for staff, you know, when we're on those calls, we can hear it. When somebody is passionate about what it is that they do and passionate about supporting people, you can hear it and you can feel it, whether it's in person, whether it's over Zoom. They have examples, you know, that it's something you can't hide it or you can't fake it. And we can see right. We've been in this business now for over 10, 15 years in the mental health industry. We know what somebody who, you know, can support people who have got complex mental health needs. When it comes to the buzzwords that they say and how they can demonstrate, so things like person-centered care. If I ask you on an interview, what do you understand about person-centered care? If you do not have a person-centered heart, if you do not have, you know, a heart for this business, then that's going to come through in your answer. And then when it comes to introductions, when it comes to training, when it comes to leadership, all of those things, we can hear it in your responses. So it's a feeling, and it comes down to experience that we have together.
Do you think those feelings, because I completely get that, I really do, you get a feel for someone, and you know, that's sometimes that's hard to sort of put into quantifiable terms, but do you think as your business grows, you will be able to get that feeling into something that is more quantifiable in terms of values and character traits and those sorts of things?
Yes, because we actually do value-based interviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then also one of our trainings, one of our very first sessions that you typically have with Petra is we have a whole session on values, strictly on values of our organization, of values that you should instill within your organization. And it's something that we repeat over time to make sure that the values aren't lost. They're always at the forefront. When we are supporting you to write your documents, so say your personal statements, your statement of purpose, we are always keeping the values at the forefront of our trainings and of our minds, and we always remind you of it as well.
Fantastic. It's so,
and this is one of, this also is one of the reasons why we do our own franchise recruiting. So this is one of the reasons. So we've got 13 franchisees now since January up until September, and we do not use any franchise websites, marketing websites. We don't do any of that, okay? Because we want to make sure, and I do actually the consultations for franchises. And so ultimately it's yours, but ultimately it's my decision if you join Prosperity Housing Group franchise.
No, fantastic. Yeah. This is a great question. And I think this is going to be something that really, sometimes when you're thinking about what franchise to get yourself into, you need to picture it. You need to picture what your life will look like. So what does a typical day look like for a franchisee? I think it's a great question, Simon. Thanks for this. Either of you can. Or both of you.
Join Prosperity Housing Group of training every 2 weeks. Now, I know that Petra's touched on this, but we train on the CQC registration process. You do mock CQC interviews with myself so that you are prepared for the actual CQC. We do trainings on, so I write a tender for you, of course, but in order for you to be independent as a business owner, we do tender writing training. We train on costings. We train on the legal and financial support. We do trainings on absolutely everything to run your business. So when it comes to the day-to-day of a franchisee, is that you are implementing what you learn in the trainings. So we have a training 1 week, and for that next 2 weeks, every day, you are working on your business. You're working on the training that we did, the week before, and keeping on top of everything that we're telling you. And in the meantime, in between that, you have full access to the support team, to myself and Petra. So you are building your business and working on it every day. But when it comes to once you're established, once you're open, then what does that look like, Petra?
Yes, great.
So to actually from when you start the franchise with us, it will take about 4 to 6 months to be open. Now, what I mean by open is for you to already, because it's taking like 4 months now just to get a CQC interview. So once you've passed the CQC interview, and once you've got that tender, this is what your life looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. So you'll be like, oh my God, now, Petra, I've got a referral. Okay, so your registered manager will then respond to the referral. When they respond to the referral, the registered manager goes to the hospital or wherever the person with the mental health is living and do the assessment.
Okay.
We have an assessment tool that we give to that we give to you, and then you will then go out to assess this person. What day does he need medication? What medications is he on? What are his triggers? What is his mental health diagnosis? What incidents has he had in the last 6 months? And there's more questions. So when you've done the assessment, you'll then determine whether or not you can provide care and support to that person. The majority of the time, yes, we can. We don't turn down services.
Can I clarify here? When you say you are now referring to your registered manager, not your franchisee, unless they are one and the same.
The franchisee may also be the registered manager based on their qualifications and experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes. So once the assessment has been done, you will then do the costing. So you will then break down exactly how much hours per day of care that person needs. And then you would put a price on that. So we have a weekly cost per service user. Now, we're not going to talk about costs on this call, but when you have consultations with me, I do go through the cash flow forecast, and I do let you know how much we charge per service user. Okay, so you then send that costings to the social worker. The social worker then agrees the costings, and then you will have a discharge meeting with the social worker.
Okay.
When that means that you'll agree a date for the person to move in. When the person moves in, the registered manager does the risk assessment and the care plan for this service user. So there is a system online that we use for this. All the staff will have access to this system, and they'll be able to know exactly what time he takes his medication, what day does he have his depot injection, what day does he want to go to ASDA, all of that. Okay. Then the support staff then will then do key working sessions with him or her. And the key working sessions look like, how are you feeling today? Where would you like to go today? What goals do you have for this week? That's what it looks like for that person. And then they take care of the person. So
fantastic. No, I mean, that's a great picture of what it could look like. If you're either the registered manager and the franchisee, but if you're just the franchisee, that's your registered manager there. And I suppose then you're working on your business and making sure it's performing right. Would you encourage a franchise, or if they weren't the registered manager, to do regular visits and be engaged in that setting, or is it more remote, would you say?
So that was the registered manager's role. So now what I'm going to talk about now is the franchisee's role, who is the nominated individual. So the nominated individual, they're the one that pays the bills. Okay, so they pay the bills for the property. So the gas, the electric, the council tax, organize the gardening, organize any repairs that need doing, any decoration that needs doing. The nominated individual also does the payroll. So make sure that the staff gets paid. The nominated individual communicates with the accountant on a regular basis. Make sure national insurances and taxes are being paid. The nominated individual also do the invoicing. So when we get a service user and an amount has been agreed, certain local authorities will just pay the invoice on a monthly or weekly basis. But some local authorities will need you to email them. So the nominated individual's role is to email and do the invoicing.
Okay.
So that's different roles.
Oh, sorry. I thought Harvey was going to jump in there. I thought we were going to move on, but just to quickly add to that, when it comes to also being a franchisee as a director, now we don't deal with the day-to-day running of our service, myself and Petra. As Petra's mentioned, she lives in Dubai. I live in London. Our supported living services are based in the Midlands. Okay, so we are not there on the day-to-day running of the business. Now, this is not a passive business, like Petra was saying. So Petra, you know, will have conversations with our registered manager, and I will, you know, deal with the finances of our business. But because we are not involved in the day-to-day running, we are able to spend that time strategizing. So we talk about how we're going to reinvest into the service. We talk about how we're going to continue building and working and elevating our service, and we support our franchisees. So when it comes to being a franchisee, we believe in making sure that you know, have distance so that you can have a life, so that you can pour into yourselves. We do not believe in franchisees. We do not believe in directors working day to day within the service. And we support you with developing that mindset to kind of take a step back and know that to not always have to work every day. And it's okay, and we support our franchisees to kind of get into that mindset as well. So yes, obviously there's a lot that goes into the service, but it's not our franchisees or the directors that necessarily have to do all of that day-to-day running.
Fantastic. That's a great answer to that question, and a great question, Simon. If you have just joined us today, this is Franchising Brand Stories, brought to you by FranRec, and today we are hearing the story of Prosperity Housing Group, and it's been a very fascinating story. If you have just joined us, there is a QR code on the screen right now that will take you to the replay of this episode. So if you'd like to hear the beginning, then please scan that QR code and you can hear that. We are, gosh, I mean, time flies by when we're hearing a fantastic story, and it's been a great
fun, so carry on.
Absolutely. But I suppose one of the questions, it's really been interesting hearing what you've been saying there about the differences between the registered manager and the franchisee and what their roles might be. Mm-hmm. One of the things I did pick up on is that the franchisee or the nominated individual, there are quite a lot of admin sort of parts of that side of the business, but you also speak of a strong heart. Those two things don't often go hand in hand. The strong heart bit tends to go, from my point of view, in having that heart to care for those individuals, and the admin side of it doesn't sort of fit into there. What sort of characters do you think do have those two things, a strong heart and, you know, a strong enough heart for admin and that side of the business, which is obviously clearly important and part of that role? It's a unique individual, I think.
That's such an interesting question. So the admin, think of it this way: the admin is the, oh gosh, I've lost.
It's necessary, isn't it? I mean,
what do I always say, Jessica? It's the money activity.
Yeah, I mean,
what do I always say? It's the income generating activity.
Sure.
Income generating activity. Okay, so that's what the admin is. The admin is the income generating activity. So what you have to think about first, yes, you're going to get into this business because you want to help people. You also get into this business because you want a lucrative business model that is recession proof.
Yeah.
Okay, because supported living is recession proof. We survived COVID. Our income was not affected during COVID. Our staff still worked. We still had referrals during COVID. It's income recession proof. What I don't want you to do and think about, I don't want you to think about, oh my God, because I'm such a nice person, I can't do admin, or because I'm such a nice person, I can't be wealthy. You can be nice and wealthy. Okay. Money does not have a feeling. It does not have an emotion. It doesn't have that. What we do, we are providing a service to the local authority and to the NHS. So we are exchanging energy. They have service users that need to come out of hospital, which is costing them thousands, and need to reintegrate into the community. And then we are exchanging our value with providing that expertise and helping that person get well. And then we deserve to get paid for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, we are racing through today. It's been such a fantastic story that you have told us today, and it's so important to understand that story behind the brand. I mean, you know, I could go on talking to you for hours. It's a fascinating conversation, and we'll probably have to do a part 2 for this. But I think a question before we go into the final part of this that I would like to put to you is, it's based around challenges and support. So I'd like you to think about what challenges your franchisees may face and how you might support them, perhaps in an example, particularly Petra being based in Dubai, you know, how that supports. Because people may be thinking that because you've got to do a lot of that remotely, that may be challenging. So how do you support your franchisees with their challenges, and what challenges might you think they would come across?
Jessica touched on this earlier. What the most important thing is getting your business registered correctly and getting the company structure done correctly. Because if you haven't got the right company structure, you are not going to pass CQC and you are not going to get paid by the local authority. So that's the most important thing, is that straight from the beginning, you are going to have your structure done correctly. In terms of challenges, what can we say about those, Jess?
I mean,
about challenges.
So there was something, Harvey.
Yeah.
There was
I mean, sorry, go on.
Sorry, with Petra living in Dubai. I think one of the most important things is that as business owners, we like what Petra was saying, we choose the lifestyle that we want to have. Now, we support our franchisees with choosing what that looks like for them. For Petra, that looked like living in Dubai. For me, that looked like living in London. So if a franchisee, they wanted to be in the day-to-day running of their service, then we support them to do that. If they decide that they want to be a bit more distant and work remotely, then we support them to do that. So it really is based on the individual. Now, when it comes to the challenges, now myself and Petra, like I said before, there was not much information available when we first started our service. So we have been through, I can't think of a challenge that we haven't been through ourselves.
Oh, no, that's great that you've been through it, and that you know that you're going to be there for people when they go through it. And I suppose you take a challenge, whatever it might be.
I think the only challenge is going to be you. That's ultimately, if you're the kind of person that always sees problems, you're going to always have problems. We are there to support you. Because we've literally got a system that's worked and that is working, because we own our own supported living business, and we're very successful and we're very happy in what we do. And we have a staff team, we have a management leadership team. And if you're always thinking about the challenges and the risks, then you're gonna get them. But because of the way that we structure the business, you're not going to have that. Let me give you an example. I had a consultation with someone recently who has a supported living service, and she hasn't been paid for one of her service users for 1 year. She was not paid, hasn't been paid, doesn't know how to get paid. Her emails aren't being opened. She doesn't know how to have conversations with the social workers, didn't understand how to do costings, nothing. Okay, so that's a challenge that people have when they're set up and they don't know what they're doing. Another issue is property investors that think that supported living is a property business. It's not, it's a care business. Okay. So you have a call recently, Jessica, with someone who was having challenges. What happened with that?
Yes, so he actually got a consultant to support him with, he was also already open as a supported living service. He hired a consultant who gave him completely wrong advice. Again, he had a service user in his service. The costings hadn't been agreed. He wasn't getting paid for that person. Therefore, he wasn't able to pay his staff. The consultant was telling him to change the legal structure of his business, which would have got him into a lot of trouble with the CQC. So the challenges arise when, number one, you don't know what you're doing, or you hire people who they don't know what they're doing or don't have a successful supported, and because we do, we bypass a lot of those challenges.
Also, if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Petra Foster, you will have a look at our previous clients that we've worked with. You'd have a look at the previous clients that we've worked with. People always ask, what if you don't get referrals? What if you don't get clients? You will get clients, okay? Yeah. People always ask, how long would it take? Well, let me tell you. I interviewed one of my clients. Her name is Remy. She's on my YouTube channel. She got her first service user in February, February 2024. In July 2024, she now has 4 service users, and now it has a second house.
Fantastic.
When I tell you, we are very much results orientated. Jessica and I are the best at what we do. We are results orientated. We love our franchisees. We love our support, our service users, and we are all about results. So you may see us looking all nice and everything, but we will keep you accountable. Okay, if I say I need this by Saturday, I need it by Saturday. Okay, there's information that we need because we want to make sure that you're open within 5 to 6 months and that you're starting to make money in the service. So please don't be thinking about challenges or thinking about when we're going to get service users. The way we do it, you will.
Fantastic. Well, look, we are now past the end. So we are going to wrap things up. I have put a QR code up on the screen now that does take people to your website so people can have a look at that. I'm going to finish by asking you, Jessica, or you, Petra, whoever wants to take this one, but what is coming up in the future for Prosperity Housing? Fairly short because we are past the end. So give us the franchising brand story exclusive for what's happening in the next month or 2.
Okay, well, like we've said, we already have 13 franchisees and we are very new. So what's coming up is we're going to have more franchisees. We've got more franchisees joining our network. You are going to see Prosperity Housing Group wherever you go in the UK, within the country. And you're also going to be able to see the direct work that we are doing by seeing people having changed lives. You're going to walk past people walking down the street within our place and our brand, and you're going to see a lot of successful business owners.
Fantastic. Well, that's a great way to end. I would like, first of all, to thank everyone who has been with us live today to hear this story. I would like to thank you, Jessica, and I'd like to thank you, Petra, for your time and for sharing your story with us. So next week on Franchising Brand Stories, we are going to hear what's under the hat of heavenly desserts. So bring your spoon and dig in for that one.
Also, you can also follow us on Instagram as well. So my Instagram is Petra Foster _ and my Instagram. Okay. And for more information about what we do, all you need to do is download our free guide. So our free guide, just go to www.phgfranchise.co.uk. It talks about startup costs and also our franchise curriculum.
Fantastic. Great stuff. So also join us next Tuesday, 17th of September for the Franchise Show. And we're going to be talking to the fantastic Michelle Leconte from SEO Samba. And we're going to be talking all about SEO work and local and national marketing and how that can work for our franchise businesses. So until next week, my friends, please have a fantastic week ahead. And until next time, take good care.